Welcome back to Don't Repeat What Mommy Says.
Don't do it.
No, we're not doing that. So today I had this on here and then I thought it didn't really seem like enough for a whole episode. So it was talking about like anniversaries and like celebration type things after you become parents.
Mm-hmm.
But since I think that'll take us like 5 seconds to talk about, I was thinking maybe we could also combine that with the whole like matching energies thing we'd been wanting to talk about with marriage.
Okay.
So I think you and
Buckle
dad are
up.
definitely, yeah, buckle up. It's going to be a fun one. So I think you and dad are probably a little bit different because you guys don't really do like Father's Day, Mother's Day, anniversaries,
No, we don't do any of that.
gifting for each other.
We never give gifts. No, we
Yeah.
don't do any of that. And now, like, so he got mad because I forgot our anniversary, I don't know, years ago or whatever. And this year we both kind of forgot. Well, I didn't really forget it. I just didn't get him a card or anything. And then I was like, oh yeah, I thought our anniversary was going to be Sunday, but it's Monday. He's like, oh my God, is it our anniversary? I'm like, oh, you finally forgot. Like, I was so proud of him. And he's like,
Yeah.
we just don't care about that stuff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't care about that stuff. Like, obviously, every marriage is different. It's just, so we used to give each other gifts, and it was very stressful for both of us. So I just decided to take the stress out of it. I was like, I'll just get whatever I want to get. I'll let you know what you got me. And he goes, well, then can I do that? I'm like, yes, yes, you can do that. And it's been so much less stressful for us. It doesn't mean we don't celebrate anything. Like we will go do something together, but usually not on the day of. Usually it's like a month later or something. We're like, hey, yeah, let's whatever, call it our anniversary, whatever. So we're weird like that. Uh, but it does matter to some people. Like I know a lot of women get like very upset if their husband forgets something like that. So that's not anything I can relate to.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, like, we usually go out to eat for our anniversary, but it's nothing crazy. It's like we're going to go get dinner, usually
Right.
alone if we can. Um, so,
I feel like sometimes people have such big expectations for stuff like that like they're almost setting themselves to be let down, and it can cause a fight where I don't think it really needs, like, if your marriage is great otherwise except for these situations where your expectations aren't being met, like maybe just lower your expectations. I don't know if that's possible for you or not, but like seriously, so much less stress not having to do those things for us. Like both of us are like really cool with it. Like I said, we it's not that we don't celebrate. We do acknowledge like, hey, we've been married 29 years. That's a big deal. We probably will do something a little more for our 30th next year, just because 30 years is a big deal. But it would probably be more of an experience. Like we'll probably like go stay somewhere, do a trip, or something of that nature.
stay in a
What?
yurt.
What?
Are you going to stay in a yurt?
He's staying in a yurt. He doesn't want to stay in a yurt, but he's. I found these yurts at this place that's like a really pretty state park, and I'm like, oh, we're staying in a yurt, and he's like, I don't want to stay in a yurt. I'm like, settle in, we're doing
Sucks
it,
for you, dude.
right? Like, I'm like, like we are staying in a yurt, and he's not interested, but he's going to do it because I'm making him, and I think that's okay.
Well, and I think people might not see the connection just yet between the whole like matching energies and celebrations and marriage. So somebody asked, she did this whole like extravagant thing for Father's Day for her husband one year, and like the next year he did like nothing for Mother's Day. She got like a janky handmade card.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know, what should I do? Should I like just match energy, just get him a card?
Hmm.
I was like, I mean, in your situation, yeah, I probably would. I'm like, Andy, the first like Mother's Day was like, why am I saying anything? You're not my mom, but like I'm the mother of your kids,
Okay,
but
so you
whatever.
know why we don't celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day?
Because you said I'm not your mom.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm like, he's my husband is like really romantic, and I'm so not. Like, I'm a very like I probably have Asperger's. I don't even know. Like I've never been diagnosed with that, but I'm like a very logical, like and not extremely emotional person. Uh, so when I was pregnant with Lauren, he got me this Mother's Day card. And I was like, why would you get me a Mother's Day card? You know, and he's like, well, I mean, you're pregnant with my child. And I'm like, I mean, but I'm not your mom.
Yeah.
So he just doesn't get Mother's Day cards now because he's like, well, fuck that. You're not my mom then.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
and I think he was salty. And I'm like, thank God he loves me because ugh, I'm
well,
kind
and
of
I
an
told her,
asshole, I guess.
it's like, I mean, when my husband did nothing for me for Mother's Day, I did like a really over the top Father's Day thing because I was just thinking like, it, on the nice way to say it, it's killing him with kindness. On the other side, it's like, you're such a dick, but clearly I'm the better spouse because I love you more. And he stepped it up in following years, but my
Yeah,
motivations were not pure. They were
oh,
purely spite.
that's okay. But I mean, yeah, so we talked about the matching energy thing.
A
And
lot.
he matched my energy with the not gift giving and I'm okay with that. Like I said, for me, it's so much less stress. Like I used to get really stressed about this shit, you know, because I don't know what he wants.
Well, and I think at the end of the day, things are going to look a little different once you become parents because you don't have as much time when you have really little kids. So
But sometimes not as
that's,
much money.
or not as much money. So that's something that you should just be aware of. Um, but in terms of like celebrating whether or not you do, how much you celebrate, how over the top it is, do what works for you. I mean, like, don't look at somebody else's husband who's gonna go and like do the candlelit dinner with the rose petals to the bath. First of all, no man actually does that. If he does, he'll do it once. Um,
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't like grandiose gestures. I really don't because it feels really fake to me. I almost feel like people do that so that other people think they're a great husband. You know what I mean? Or I believe there's a lot of women who they want this experience so they can put it on social media. I am not that person. Like I do not put my private shit on social media. Like if you're doing it for me, I want it to be for me, not for the rest of the world. So,
right.
and that's what that grandiose shit feels like to me. I'm not saying like if your husband does something grandiose, he's a dick like that. I'm not saying that, but that's how it feels to me. So I don't like that.
Yeah, and like Andy did like a big grandiose thing one year, and it was literally just for us. Like it was in our apartment. It was like a quiet dinner, and then he had like fondue, chocolate, and strawberries. So, we were
Yeah,
poor, but it
yeah, that's
was
nice.
it was a very nice setup and it was a very sweet sentiment. It wasn't like over the top. There weren't like rose petals strewn about and bouquets and everything. Like no, it was a nice dinner that he cooked and fondue strawberries and it was great. Like
And
but
I mean, I think those things are nice too, but to me, it's the day-to-day stuff is more important to me than any of that kind of stuff. Um,
absolutely.
like like to me, the fact that my husband never forgets to put the toilet seat down is super
That's love.
romantic. You know what I mean? Like he knows I hate it, and I know when he's angry at me because he'll leave the seat up out of spite. That's a
Thankfully my
good
husband
signal to it. Be like, oh, he's a little irritated with me right now. Motherfucker just left that seat up. But
thankfully
yeah,
my
it's
husband doesn't do that, but he quit
yeah.
leaving the seat up because we got a cat that kept falling in the toilet because he would leave the seat up. So I finally told him, I'm like, next time the cat falls in the toilet, you're washing the cat. So I've never seen a toilet seat left up since.
Or it's like the thing, like when I come home from work or whatever, and I forget to go get myself a soda because I'm like super addicted to Diet Pepsi. I drink like a lot. And I'll sit down and I'll be like, oh. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I forgot to get a Diet Pepsi. And he'll be like, are you saying you'd like me to go get a Diet Pepsi? You know, and I'll be like, I mean, no, I can get up and get it. And he'll go get it for me anyway. It's like stuff like that. Like, he knows I want it. It makes my life a little easier. Like, those kind of things to me mean so much more than a grandiose thing. but that's just me. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you want grandiose stuff, but like maybe discuss it with your spouse so that they know what the expectations are.
Well,
Maybe.
and we've talked about our hatred of the Five Love Languages book.
I hate the fucking love languages. I
And
just think it causes problems.
funny enough, I told you I've been watching some clips from that John Deloney dude. He said he
Hmm.
hates the love languages too.
Yeah, because he's smart.
Yeah,
I've seen more marriages fall apart because they're not speaking their love language. Jesus Christ.
yeah. So my husband likes to get people gifts. That's like, if you want to talk about love languages, he likes gift giving. But for years, I was like, God, like he always gets me something stupid. Like, not like stupid in a bad way, but something that I wouldn't have thought, oh, I want that. He got me things that he felt like were useful.
Hmm.
So it took a little bit of like reframing. He's not buying me what I'm saying, oh my God, I really want. He's buying me something that he knows would benefit me. So, like, it can be easy to be like, you never get me what I say I want and be annoyed with that, but then look at what are they trying to do? So for him, it was like the one year he got me a portable phone charger because my phone kept dying and I never had a charger with me. So he got me a portable phone charger or a coffee maker or, things of that nature. Something that I use often. Pretty much every gift he's gotten me is something that I use a lot.
Well, and so since because we don't give each other gifts anymore, but he does still surprise me with stuff once in a while. And that's like super special. But it's not usually like on a holiday or something. It'll be like out of the blue, like he was somewhere and he saw something that he thought I would like. So that's like even more special to me since we don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But that's that goes along with matching energy, which can be a good thing. Like we match energy with the gift giving and stuff like that. We're both on. So we're both on board with this. It's not
Yes.
like one of us is upset about this. This was discussed. This was something that we agreed on, and we both like it that way. So, but we've been married 29 years, so we have conversations about a lot of crap because 29 years, you got a lot of time to talk. So, and to get to know each other and what you like, what you don't like. And we did decide that like doing an experience was better than gift giving. So again, it could just be going to dinner. Sometimes it's going, and having a long weekend at a bed and breakfast somewhere, and sometimes it's just like going for a walk somewhere or something like that. We're pretty simple people, really, which is good. But then there's matching the energy when your husband does dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not a nagger, but you will always get what you give with me.
Yep. Yep.
And it goes for kids too. Like I told my kids, I've told my husband, I told the kids when I drove a school bus. When I drove a school bus, you get to decide what kind of bus driver you want to have. Do you want the nice Miss Jen who says good morning to you and have a nice day? Or do you want the bus Nazi? You pick. And the kids that I drove have seen both. And usually they only need to see Bus Nazi for a couple of days before they decide, no, they don't like her. They would rather like this Miss Jen better. My husband, you get to decide what kind of wife you want. Do you want a wife that's going to talk to you and stuff? Then you be a good listener. You want a wife who's not going to listen to shit that you say? Don't listen to me one day when I'm trying to tell you something and then you'll get the same back.
Well, and so my husband got irritated with it because he would be like trying to talk to me while I was on my phone and I'd be ignoring him. And finally one day I was like, do you know how many times you've done this to me?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, I wasn't paying attention. You didn't get my attention before you spoke. It's like you're sitting right here. I'm looking at you talking to you.
Mm-hmm. Put your phone down.
So put your phone down. If that's, you know, if this is how you choose to communicate, then I'm doing the same thing.
Right?
We can both play this game.
Yeah. And I like because I won't have a fight about it. I'll just do it. And then when he gets irritated about it, I'll be like, remember in 1999 when you told me you set this precedent for our marriage. Oh, you don't like it? Well, maybe you ought to change.
Yeah. And
And it works.
and I'm not necessarily saying you have to be petty, but like, okay, if you're irritated because your husband's always just leaving to go do something on his own and you're always home with the kids and you feel like you have to ask permission to go, stop asking permission. Go, here's your kids, and leave.
Mhm. And I've always done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm an adult. Like, I don't feel like I need anybody's permission to do diddly squat. I never have. Like, I don't have that female guilt. That skipped a generation for me.
Yeah,
Because I just figured they're his kids too. If I want to go do something, I'm going to go do it. Like, obviously, unless he had prior plans or he wasn't going to be there or something, but I would just tell him. Usually it was ahead of time, but and my husband never really had a problem with it. It's not, we didn't have fights about it. It's just the way it's always been.
well, and like the extent of me asking my husband for permission to do something because of the kids is usually more of a, hey, I want or need to do X. Are you busy? Because if he's got something going on that he has to get done, because he's only got 2 days off a week,
Mm.
you know,
Well, yeah, I'm not saying be inconsiderate, but I've
right.
never felt like I need permission. If I want to go do something, I go do it. If
Yeah.
my husband doesn't want to go do something with me, because I know a lot of women get upset about that too, like my husband never wants to do this or he never wants to do that. Like I do not wait for my husband. If I want to do something and he doesn't want to do it, I will go do it.
Yeah,
And
and stop.
and I think I wish more women would be like that because it's like you're not having experiences in your life because you're depending on somebody else. And I just think that's a really shitty way to live because you're going to miss out on, and then resentment builds towards your husband, and that it just doesn't need to happen. And I think the more you go do things without them or whatever, like eventually they kind of are like, well, maybe I want to share some experiences with her. Well, yeah, well then come with. I invited you, you know.
Well,
But if you're
absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but if you want to be a bump on a log, then be a bump on a log. I don't feel like doing that right now. So,
Well, like Halloween last year, my husband never wants to go do things with us, so I didn't even think to include him. Like, I took our son trick or treating. We went, there's like a church in town that does a big party at the fairgrounds every year. We went to the party. By the time we were leaving, he calls me, well, where are you at? Like, we're just leaving. We're going home now. Well, I wanted to do Halloween stuff with the kids. I'm like, then I probably need to know in advance that you want to join us, and then I'll clue you in on the plans. But you've never wanted to be included, so I didn't include you. And I mean, sometimes that's just how these things go, but I'm not going to wait around for him to want to do something to have those experiences or to give my kids those experiences.
right.
So, don't wait around on it.
Well, I did another one. Like, I don't usually talk about my personal life in a negative light, especially with my husband, because he's my husband. I love him very much, and he's a great guy. Okay, so I don't want you to take it, uh, but like at your wedding when we were walking out of the church, I just got out and started walking down the aisle. I didn't take his hand or anything. And he was like waiting to hold my hand or whatever. And he's like, Jennifer, like, and I'm like, well, you don't usually hold my hand. So why would I get up and hold your hand? Oh, because people are watching? Like, whatever. So, I mean, like, don't act like I'm the jerk. You never hold my hand in public. So why would I stop to hold your hand? You know what I mean? But then he was kind of like upset about it because, people were watching and expected us to do that. So guess who holds my hand all the time in public now?
Well, I know my husband got salty about that. I forget what was we were like at somebody's house or something, and I was like sitting on the complete opposite end of the room, and he came to sit by me. I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, you're the one who told me you weren't comfortable with public displays of affection. Why are you trying public displays of affection?" And like, I'm good with it. My husband and I are not super touchy-feely people, so we're usually pretty good to like do our own thing, be in our own space. Like, you know, we're not very like affectionate at all. Um,
Dad and I are very affectionate, just not usually in public. He's like very, I don't know, like not that way. Not I don't care either way, but then don't expect me like, oh, this is a situation where I should hold your hand. Like, why the hell would I do that? We don't do that.
yeah, and please don't take me talking about these conversations and situations with my husband as him being like a bad husband. He's a good husband, he's a good dad, but I think
Everybody has their quirks.
everybody has their quirks and everybody has something they're going to complain about with their husband. These are just real world examples I can pull from to discuss this topic.
Right.
Um, and sometimes it can be hard. Like, it can be a learning curve to match the energy you're getting.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't have a problem matching the energy whatsoever.
yeah,
I'll just
well,
be like, oh, I just thought those were the rules.
my
Because
issue has
what's good
always
for the gander is good for the goose in my house.
my issue has always been like around money. So I've pretty much from the time I was 16 up until I was 26-ish, I had always had a job, always had my own income, so it never really like was something where it was somebody else's money because I've always hated being like, "Can I use money for this?" So I got a job as soon as I could. And now being a stay-at-home mom, I find myself having moments where like I want to ask to spend money, and I'm like, I don't have to ask.
No.
I'm not bringing in an income, but that is still our money. And like we do discuss the budget and stuff, and I think we've talked about this before on the show too, but like we have an amount that's kind of like no questions asked. If you spend this much, nobody's going to care. But it was one of those things I had to kind of like get into my head that even though I don't have a paycheck coming in, it's still my money. Like our money, but you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I have just as much right to it as my husband does legally.
Right. I just, I do what I want.
Yeah.
I really do. And my husband does too. I mean, it's not like I have different rules for me than he has. We're just very autonomous people. And we worked different shifts for a decade of our marriage. So we almost had to operate autonomously. So that's probably a big reason why we are still that way. And like I said, I was very autonomous before I was with him. And he was a farm boy, so he needs a lot of alone time. Uh, like he's kind of a quiet guy a lot of times, not all the time, who just really needs his own space, and that's probably why we're together and why it works because we're both okay with that. And so we just really operate very separately. We're probably more together now than we ever have been, just because you know things change and we're around each other more now than we used to be. So we're like, hey, maybe we should discuss some things. Yeah. Like, hey, maybe that's a good idea. you know.
Yeah. Well, and like my husband does this thing where he calls me on his way home from work to tell me he's on his way home. And some days he has stuff to talk about, but some days he doesn't. And he just sits there on the phone in silence because he's like really bad at ending a phone call or a conversation. He's just really awkward about it. And there's been several days where I'm like, okay, honey, if there's nothing else, like I just gotta go. Like,
You
it,
see, Dad and I we don't call each other and text each other and stuff very much.
yeah. Well, I told him once, I'm like, I think you need to stop calling me. And he's like, why? I'm like, because we talk about everything there is to talk about in your drive home, and we have nothing to talk about once you're here.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Dad and I might be less like that than like younger people because in the beginning of our marriage, we didn't have cell phones existed, just not everybody had them, and we did not have a lot of money, so we did not. So it was never a part, you know what I mean? So I'm not crapping on people that text each other and stuff like that's cool. We just wouldn't think to do that because it wasn't a thing for most of our lives. Well, maybe it's most of our lives now because we're getting old, but we didn't grow up in that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So really I like the text option because we will use it like, hey, if you're going to the store, can you stop and get this or for things like that. I will call him like if I accompany one of you guys to a doctor's appointment or something like that and there's news that I feel he needs to know, I will call him about stuff like that.
Yeah.
If something happens here at home, because I work long hours every other week, he might call me about something like that. But other than that, we don't really do that.
Well, and I think there's such an expectation, especially among my generation, of like constant contact.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Is it a
totally
good thing or
okay.
a bad thing, or what do you think?
I
It
think
would
it's,
make me crazy.
I honestly think it's kind of a bad thing because I think people will get, so like my husband has to sometimes be out of town for work. He'll tell me, hey, I'm going to be out of town for work. When
Mm-hmm.
he's out of town, we don't talk. He might call me to say, like, good night or see how the day's been going or if he's got something to talk about. But for the most part, no, we just don't. If he's not here, we don't really talk. But I think people have this expectation of it and then they get like upset. Like he's not answering my texts and you get upset unnecessarily. So,
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for lowered expectations. Honestly, I think like when resentment, all that is expectations that haven't been met. Really, truly. And I'm not saying that like don't have any expectations, but sometimes our expectations are so high and things do change throughout a marriage too. Like my marriage to my husband does not look the same today as it did 29 years ago. Like we're different people, we've grown as people and as a couple, and things are just different. And sometimes you can go through a change that one party might not like the direction that's going in for a little while. That will happen. I see a lot of stuff. I mean, because the moms groups are a lot of them are young, and even if they're not young, they haven't been married like as long as I have. A lot of them, so everything feels like a long time or like it's insurmountable at that stage of marriage. That's how it feels like, oh my God, it's always going to be like this and I can't live like this forever. And I get that because I've been in those stages where I felt the same way about certain things. But I can tell you after 29 years, things do change and shake up throughout a marriage. And usually, if you just kind of keep who you are, you know, if you have a strong sense of self and you just be true to yourself, sometimes you can just kind of let your partner do whatever dumb shit they're doing right now and it'll pass because it might just be a phase. Like,
so,
unless it's a deal breaker thing that they're doing, obviously.
so funny enough, I am the admin of the marriage group she's talking about. It's Moms Managing Marriage. Janina is the network owner. I'm the admin, so I'm kind of like the grand poopa below her. Um,
She's
and
the
we
poopa.
get moderation alerts for certain words, usually because the goal of the group is to be supportive of marriage and whatnot. So certain words trigger alerts in the system. And this morning, I got a moderation alert because of your comment.
What did I say?
The word hate was flagged in your comment for a moderation
Well,
alert.
she said hate in the post.
It was funny. I can choose to delete or ignore comments that pop up like that. I left it,
She
obviously.
said hate in the post. I wouldn't have used hate. I just used hate because she used hate. It's called mirroring.
It was just funny because it popped up and I was like, I have to laugh for a minute because here's my mom getting called out by our
I get
Facebook like
I
flags.
get I get flagged all the time though.
Yeah, super
Like,
funny. But basically, your point was like you've been through phases of your marriage where you and your husband
well,
didn't
because
like
she
each
said
other.
she hates her husband right now. And
Yes,
I wouldn't use
yes.
the word hate generally because I think that's like a really strong word. But here's the
I think it's
thing:
extreme.
when she's saying she hates her husband because shit's probably not going well right now or whatever, she said they don't see eye to eye. But if you have that strong of an emotion, no, your marriage isn't over. You still have feelings for this man. They're just pretty negative right now. I promise you, your marriage is over when you have no feelings. When you're at indifference, the marriage is over. Can't fix that. I know, I've been divorced. Didn't
Yeah,
give one shit when I kicked him out. I was like, oh, well, that was like taking my bra off at the end of the day. Free.
yeah. And I,
and
yeah,
and you will go through phases like that. Well, they have a young child, so I think that period of time can be really
it
tough.
can be really straining on a marriage. I actually saw just today, I was scrolling through, it was one of those like Reddit posts, like, Am I the ass? Because she's 3 months postpartum and her husband keeps trying to sleep with her and she keeps telling him no.
Mm,
And she's like,
okay,
I've put out a few times, but every time I do, I just resent him more and more.
right.
And she
And he
finally told
resents her
him,
for not boinking him. Yeah.
yeah, she finally told him, just quit touching me. And he, like, deflated, just left the house, and he sent a text basically just saying, I'm sorry, I just want to be with you. And I'm like, I think
Mm,
there's a whole lot, because I think that's a really common thing that comes up postpartum
absolutely,
for
yeah.
women.
Yeah.
Um, your hormones are insane. You're going through it. You're tired. You're exhausted. You're probably hungry because you haven't eaten enough because you're dealing with a crying baby. And for men, sex is often the way that they feel connected with their spouse. So in your mind, it's him being a pig and he just wants to have sex and that's all he cares about. In his mind, I'm desperately trying to connect with you and you keep turning me down.
Well, that, and I
So,
think men start to feel a little bit neglected because you probably weren't like that before you had children. And now he's like, oh my God, she doesn't even like me. Like,
well, and that's exactly what she
and I
said. Like,
don't know that they consciously think that, but I think that's in the back of their head, you know?
yeah, so I think in that instance, I would not match energies. I would have a discussion because, like, you don't have the capacity to deal with them, but it's not because you hate them or you don't want to be intimate with them. It's because you've got other things on your plate.
Well, you might feel like you hate them right now.
Or maybe you do feel like you hate
Because
that.
that lady in the mom's group, I mean, she said she hates her husband.
I
And she probably, to the core of her being, feels like that right now.
and I've
And
had
that's okay.
moments I've had moments like that where I felt that way, but I ultimately don't feel that way about my husband. They
For
were
sure.
moments of time where there were expectations that weren't being met or something frustrating. So,
Right. But I think that, well, Dad was really lucky because I wanted a lot of sex after I had a baby. So we didn't have that problem. It, never been a problem in our
yeah.
marriage in that regard. We've had other problems in our marriage, but that was not one of them. But I think that communication can be good. But I also think everybody wants to communicate too much sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes you need to pull back from the person. I'm going to do my thing right now. You do your thing right now because right now we are not we can't connect in a healthy way right now. And I think it's okay to have a conversation about that so that everybody knows like it's not that I don't love you, it's not that I don't want to be with you. It's like right now I do not have the capacity to deal with your feelings. I'm dealing with all of this. I don't feel like you're dealing with my feelings. I feel like all you're doing is whining about yours and I don't give a shit about yours right now. You know, and I know that's a hard pill for men to swallow, but it is what it is. After you have a baby, you just don't have the capacity for their friggin' feelings for a little while.
Yeah. And that was one thing. Somebody had said, what's one piece of advice that you thought was really good? Or it was something along those lines, like a piece of marriage advice in the marriage group. And what I put on there is sometimes it's okay to go to bed angry. Because I
Yes.
know that's like the lovely platitude never go to bed angry. It is okay to go to bed angry. It's okay to sleep on it. It's okay to revisit the issue at a later time. Um, in the meantime, though, try not to let those thoughts circulate and make you angrier and angrier. Because you know how sometimes you get like annoyed at a little thing and
Mm-hmm.
then you don't talk about it, and then every little thing starts coming back? So try
Well,
not to do that.
again, I'm a person who can detach from my emotions for very long periods of time. So I have tabled situations that piss me off for a year or more because I
Yeah.
couldn't rationally talk about it. I was just like, whatever, you do you. I don't even like you, whatever. I'll deal with that maybe next year. You know what I mean? But here's the difference. Like I am very committed to my marriage.
Yes.
My husband is very committed to our marriage. So divorce is not on the table for us. Like I'm not saying I would never get divorced, but it would have to be so extreme for me or him to take that step. Uh, Cheating, not an option. Like going outside of our marriage, not an option. So for us, like sometimes I am so angry about something, I cannot rationally deal with it. And it would, and I know that about myself, it would be not productive to even try to deal with it because I can't think rationally about it. So until I can, I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm going to leave it alone. And then I will eventually, like, have a conversation with him or whatever. We'll try to resolve something. But yeah, I've gone to bed angry many, many times, and he's known. He knows, like, oh, girlfriend is pissed, but she clearly doesn't want to talk to me, so I'm gonna leave her alone. But again, we've been married a long time, and I think another thing that you need to look out for in your algorithm on Facebook, on Instagram, on all of that shit, you're hearing you deserve better. You deserve a man who's emotionally available. Blip, 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 leave him. That's what you're hearing, like anytime you're on social media, right? Because that's like the big friggin' thing. And then your husband's hearing, she's never going to be happy with you. She's never going to be satisfied. She da 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 da. Leave her. So you're probably both good people who could make this thing work, but you're getting negative reinforcement thrown at you every single day. And
Yeah.
that has been really bad for marriage. Social media has been horrible for marriage.
Well, and so that was the goal of Mom's Managing Marriage, is to create a place that's not going to tell you he's a dick, leave him.
Right.
Basically, trying to support marriages and give people strategies to have better marriages. Not saying we've never told somebody to leave somebody, but those were extreme circumstances.
Sure.
Um, but
I don't think the advice ever was get a divorce though.
no, it was never get a divorce because the people
You
who are
need
in
to
those
be safe.
extreme situations,
They'll come to that
they'll come to
conclusion
that
on their
decision.
own.
Um,
Or not. I
but
mean, you never know.
when you are pissed at your husband, also be careful of who you talk to about it. Because I get it. Everybody wants the friend who's like, yeah, you're right. He's wrong. He's a dick. Um, and that's fine once in a while, but that can make you angrier and it's not really productive. So, like, I was angry at my husband one day and my sister was here. And I was bitching to my sister about how I was angry at my husband. And she was like, yeah, he's a dick. He should be. And it really probably wasn't that big of a deal. I probably wouldn't have been as angry as I was by the time he
But it
came
was
home.
fed into it.
But I was sitting here talking with my sister, who, God love her for hyping me up and being like, you're right, he's wrong. Like some sister, what's the word? I can't think of it, but sisterly affection there.
Right.
But it probably didn't help because I don't think I would have been quite as mad had I not been talking to my sister. I'm not saying I'm never going to talk to my sister when I'm pissed at my husband, but
Yeah,
you
but you
know,
need to be aware that all that negative reinforcement isn't healthy. So if you're at a rough spot in your marriage, because I've seen a lot of people end marriages over things that probably could have been fixed,
yeah,
and then and the grass is not greener on the other side usually. It's not like all of a sudden you're going to meet the man of your dreams, and without any work, you're going to have this fabulous romance for the rest of your life. That's not real life. I mean, life is not a fairy tale. That it takes work. It takes a lot. Like life is messy. Divorce, or I mean, not divorce, marriage. It's gritty. It's in the trenches. I mean, just think about that. For an entire lifetime, you are vowing to stay with this person who was raised in a different kind of home than you were. Like you're coming from different backgrounds with different experiences, and you're melding into one family. Then you add some kids. Then you add financial woes because everybody's going to hit those sooner or later. You know what I mean? You're going to have ups and downs financially. You're going to have ups and downs with your children. God forbid, I hope not, but if you end up with a child with a health issue, that's like a whole stressor, let me tell you. You might hit a natural disaster too. Like my husband and I have been through so much bullshit, like so much bullshit, and we've made it through all of it, and it wasn't always pretty. It just wasn't. But
well,
we did it.
and at the end of the day, if divorce is not on the table, you're going to find a way to work it out. Um, and if
Yeah,
you're
because your options are be a roommate and not like each other or work your shit out.
And if you are in a situation where you are considering divorce, I would not bring it up unless you are 100% certain that is what you want to do, because using the threat of divorce
It's emotional blackmail.
is
Don't do
emotional
it.
blackmail. It is coercive. It's not okay. So, unless you really mean like I'm calling a lawyer tomorrow, um, just
Yeah,
don't even
don't.
bring it up. Divorce is not
Mm-mm.
on the table. It is not an option. Now we have to work this out.
Right,
And
or
maybe
maybe
we
you
don't do it
don't.
today, but
Right. Like it is okay to say, you know what, this is an issue and I don't know what the solution to it is. You
Yeah.
know, my husband and I have had that before where he's like, how can we fix this? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I do not know. You know, and he's told me before, and I've told him before, like, you know, he's like, I think maybe this is just the way I am. You know, I don't know that I can change it. And I've said the same thing to him about some things that he's been upset about. And it's like, so then the other person has to be like, yeah, you're probably right because you keep doing that. So obviously that's who you are. So I have to find a way to accept that.
Yeah.
You know, and have you ever, now I do like that just let them lady. Have you
Hmm.
ever, and I know that people in the moms group have been listening to her, and she's great because she's like, you don't change somebody. Like, if you get mad at your husband because he's always watching golf all the time, he's always going to watch golf.
Right.
So basically, you have to find a way to be okay with that. And she's like, those are things you can get over as long as you guys have shared values, this and that. So sometimes you have to go, okay, this is something I don't like about my spouse, but it's who they are. Like maybe your spouse isn't as lovey dovey as you are. And maybe that's never who they're gonna be. You know what I mean? But you did marry them and they were probably like that before.
Hmm.
So why did you marry? Like go back to that. Do you have shared values? Do you have a common goal for where you want your marriage to go? Like is it building your family? Blah blah blah. You know, those are the important things. So sometimes you just have to find a way to overlook the shit that irritates you,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's not easy sometimes because it's really not. It's hard, but you can do it.
Yeah. All
And
right.
quit listening to all the negativity all the time.
And for the love of God, put the love language book down. We
Please.
hate it. I don't support it. It's ruining marriages left and right. Put it down. Put it down.
Yeah, because they're like, "He's nuts. You need to learn her love language." Like you're together. Why were you not speaking the same love language? Like, you know this is just some dumb shit somebody came up with to sell a book.
Right. Like I said, if you want to look at it as
A
a
fun
way,
thing?
a fun thing, maybe a way to help you recognize the way your partner's showing love if you feel like you aren't understanding it, I guess. But, because,
But don't be
like,
telling your partner, "This is my love language and you need to do this." So,
because the way I
what the
looked at it, I'm not expecting my husband to suddenly be the dude who's going to do the grandiose gesture or the words of affirmation. He's not going to do that. But what he is going to do is he's going to go, "Oh, I saw this at the store and I thought you'd really like it."
But here is something that I do. Like honestly, I will tell Dad exactly what I need in that moment.
Yeah. Clear
Like I,
communication.
cuz he's not a mind reader and I change what okay, men they're pretty constant. Women we're not. We're
Hmm.
like a freaking ocean and sometimes we're calm and serene and other times we're like white waves crashing against a wall. You know, we can change quickly, and my husband knows this about me and women in general. And so a lot of times he's like a deer in the headlights, especially when I am mad, because he doesn't know. Like, does she want me to leave her alone? Does she want me to hug her? And it could be either one. So when I want to hug him, like, this is where you hug me, and he's like, oh, okay, you know, and he'll do that. And then other times I'll be like, I want you to leave me alone, you know, and he'll be like, okay, you know, and he'll leave me alone. So, and say
Well,
what you mean too. Don't say, I want you to leave me alone if you really don't want him to leave you alone.
yes, and that took Andy a little bit of time to learn that when I say leave me alone, I really mean it. Like it's not an ulterior motive. I'm not saying leave me alone, but I really want you to try harder. No, I really mean it. If I say don't touch me, leave me alone, I
I
no,
think that's one
I
thing
mean
women
it.
do need to work on. Like, say what you mean. Don't say it if you don't mean it and then get mad at him for doing what you asked because that's not
Hmm.
fair.
Yeah.
But it is okay because there has been times when I've been like really upset and I'm like mad, you know, and I'm like, da, da, da. And he's just standing there because he doesn't know what he's like. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know. Like, what Jennifer do I have today? You know, and I'll be like, this is where you hug me. And he's like, okay. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just have to say what you need. Like,
Yeah.
this I need from you right now, you know, and most of the time they're going to oblige because they really, most men, most husbands really do just want to make you happy. They just don't know what you want.
Yeah, and I mean, my husband's even said that. Like, I just want you to be happy. I don't know how to get there. Help me out. So,
And I hear women say that all the time. Well, he should know. He doesn't,
he
girlfriend.
doesn't
He
know.
doesn't. He doesn't know because you might be different a different day. You probably were different at different days. He's scared. He's very
So,
scared.
so I feel like we veered off a little bit from our original point,
We
but
did.
good stuff to know. This has not been as much about anniversaries or celebrations or even matching energy at this point, but you know, make it work. You can. I believe in you. If you have like
I
a
think it's worth it to give it the good old college try before you try throwing in the towel.
excluding the women whose husbands are genuine buttholes,
Yeah,
which is a
abusive,
smaller percentage,
cheating.
right? Abusive, cheating, whatever. Excluding those ones. If those aren't your issue, it's probably something you can work on.
It probably is. And there might be some flaws that might always be there.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it.
That
Boom.